good evening. Well, and that might not be evening where you are, but it is here in Innsbruck, Austria, and that's where we're going to start this video. So I'd seen a bunch of people online complaining that they couldn't get a flight plan to work, or they were having issues with the flight plan, or they couldn't get the nav button to engage during the flight plan, or they were concerned that there's no airways, there's no SIDS, there's no stars. There are approaches, but there are not SIDS or stars. This is an old enough plane that it just doesn't have it. So instead of walking around and removing all this stuff and showing you guys and talking about how great a plane it is, which it is, it's a fantastic plane, I'm just going to go ahead and jump in and get started on this because you guys are here for one particular reason. I don't necessarily know what that is, but I want to make sure that we get this taken care of for you as quickly as possible. We're going to start this without external power. We're just going to hop over real quick to Zurich and we're starting here in Innsbruck. So where did we get everything turned off? We did. Okay, just want to make sure we don't start something without power. Actually, we probably ought to have the external power hooked up. I was thinking we're going to walk through the flight plan. We probably ought to have external power, so we're going to hear that run in the background. I apologize. First thing we're going to do is we're going to start our battery and then turn on the external power. And then I'm going to turn on the ICAS, which gives us the engine. Let me kill the master caution. And then I'm going to turn on the co-pilot and pilot stuff. And for now, we're just going to focus on the flight plan, okay? So here's where we're going. We're going to Zurich. This is our flight plan. We're just, whoop, I don't know why it did that. I guess because I don't really understand what I'm doing 90% of the time, I guess. That's a problem with getting old. So we're going to fly from here in Innsbruck, Austria. We're going to fly out of that valley. We're going to climb up to 18,000 feet, and we're going to land at Zurich, okay? We're not going to fly the whole thing tonight. We just don't have that kind of time for this video. So let's pull up the departure. Okay, now I'm not going to be able to punch the departure in, but what I can do is tell you, I know what runway heading is, and then we're going to go to the OEJ intersection, okay, and that's a DME for the localizer, and then the RUM NDB. So we're going to go here, all right. We're going to hit the localizer. We're going to go outbound. As soon as we cross the OEJ DME, we're going to make a hard turn, go to the Innsbruck VOR, a Dillo intersection above 13,000. We'll be well above 13 by that point. This is a lot longer distance than it looks like, and the Starship can climb. MOG-T, etc., etc. Okay, so you're going to watch me punch these things in, and there's a number of ways you can do that in the Starship. Let's get rid of these. But I just want you to know what I'm punching in. All right, so I'm going to initialize this thing. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. If you are in 2024 and you are using a livery, and when you bring it up, it doesn't bring it up with the rest of the 2024 liveries. It brings it up as a variant. That means it is a 2020 livery. It is not set up for 2024. Your nav buttons and some other buttons aren't going to work, and I don't know why that is. But if you bring in a 2020 livery to 2024, or one that was designed for 2020, and it'll show up, but you're not going to get to use the nav button, and I don't know why that is. That is the way it is. Sorry. Let's turn on our nav lights, and a seatbelt sign. We're good to go. Let's initialize the system. Also, as of the current update, this is, as you'll see on the forums, it's a common bug from 1.1. There's nothing we can do about it at this point. We're just going to say all the data is okay at this point, and we're going to get a message. It's going to tell us to update the VLF. We're going to update the VLF. We're going to tell it to update from the FMS, and boom, messages are gone. We don't have to worry about that anymore. I'm not really worried too much about that. Now, we can do one of two things here. So the first waypoint, so in a Boeing or an Airbus, the first thing people do is they want to punch in, I'm leaving from Innsbruck and I'm going to Zurich, or wherever it is, Denver, Salt Lake City, whatever. And you see at the top of the screen, there's the 4 spaces, the slash, and the 4 spaces. And you think, oh, okay, that makes sense. I'm looking at my departure and my destination. You're not. You will eventually, but initially you're not going to see that. And that's what throws people off with this plane. And I apologize, but that's just you follow along with me here, okay? A couple ways you can enter your flight plan if you don't already know this. We're going to start with our first waypoint, and it's the letter L, so we're going to find JKL, that's 4, and it's the third letter over, so we're going to go 4, 1, 2, 3. And then O is 5 with the third letter over, 5, 1, 2, 3 presses of letter. And then W, and that's the second of 8, and we're going to press 8 and then press letter twice. So 8, letter, letter, and then 3, letter, letter, letter. And that gives us LOWI. All right? Is that the right airport? It is. Where are we going to go first? Well, we are going to Rum. So we're going to go 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 1, 2, 3, and 5. We're just going to press letter once. Enter. Okay. Now that's going to get kind of annoying after a while, so what we're going to do instead is we're just going to use the keyboard. If you click on the screen, you will see the word keyboard or the letters KYBD come up. That means your keyboard is now active. It goes away in a very short period of time. Or if you click right back on the screen, it will do it. It'll go away. So I need to enter Oscar Echo Juliet. So I'm going to keep keyboard up, Oscar Echo Juliet, enter. Okay, and then I need INN, enter. Okay, and then Adillo, enter. Okay, now I know I did that kind of quickly. So my thinking is, well, you know, I don't understand why you did things the way you did or whatever the issue is. The keyboard goes away quickly, so you have to type, if I type LSZH, which is Zurich, right? I think. LSZH, is that our destination? I'm pretty sure that's our destination in Zurich, right? So, yeah, LSZH. Lima, Sierra, Zulu, Hotel. Okay. Now, I can end the flight plan, right? And so we can scroll up. And we can scroll down in the flight plan. And now you say, uh-oh. But Dad, if you look after Adillo, there's Mogti and Nessus, and you didn't put any of those in, and I don't understand how you did that. Whatever it is, we know Adillo's the last one I entered, so I'm going to click Adillo, insert waypoint after, and we're going to enter Mogti. Whoops, a daisy, didn't get MOGGI. Enter? No, there is no such thing. Cancel, add waypoint. Adillo. Insert flight point, right? Or waypoint, and we're going to do MOGTI. Yeah? Okay. So now Mogti, what comes after Mogti? Nessus comes after Mogti, so we're going to go insert after. And we're going to go NESES. Enter. Okay. I picked this particular departure tonight because it is dark and it is foggy, and I know people are a little panicked about flying planes when they don't have control or they're not used to this. You know, you're used to flying in your Boeing or your Airbus, and you can hit autopilot and it just takes off and everything's good. I understand that. Get used to this. This is going to be a lot of fun, though. We have a couple of different ways we can do this. So insert after Nessus, we want to insert keyboard KPT. So enter, enter. And then after KPT, we're going to insert a waypoint, bring up keyboard SIXWA. Enter. Yes. And after that, uh-oh, it's not on the screen. Scroll down, SIXWA, insert after, and we go Ravid, RAVED, enter, enter. Okay, well, let's say we don't want Ravid in there after all. We can now delete waypoint, and Ravid is gone. Okay, so after SIXWA, we're going to insert after, and we're going to do Ravid. enter, enter. And then after Ravid, we are going to insert. Now, you could have done this all along at the beginning, so you don't have to go in and do insert after. You could have just done each one in order. But I didn't, because I wanted to show you that you can alter the flight plan after it's been entered. So, because I've heard some people say that that's not possible or that they're having trouble with it. And I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I haven't had that problem, so, except when I've not done what I'm supposed to do. Negra, or if you approach it like you would a Boeing or an Airbus, that's going to cause you problems. And then after Negra, we need insert and keyboard, MATIV, okay, AMIK. Oops, sorry. I was thinking I was entering another. I thought we were entering the flight plan for a second. Insert after. We want AMIKI, Amiki. Enter. Okay. Now that will give us our plan. Display the plan. And we can zoom in. And we can go all the way back to the origin. And you can see that sharp turn now. And there we are back at LOWI. LOWI, oh, let's zoom in a little more. LOWI to RUM, RUM to OEJ, and then on, this isn't going to have a curve in it. So if you look at the departure, there's a curve. I mean, the plane can't make diagonals, so it's going to curve, I promise. Max 165 knots during this turn in a turn minimum bank of 25 degrees, okay? So don't turn on half bank. You're going to want to do the full bank or fly it by hand. If that's scary, I understand. You can turn on the flight director, and the flight director will tell you how to do it. You follow these bars, but remember when you're looking at your whoa, why am I getting things like that? Anyway, I believe this is 10 degrees, 30 degrees, 10 degrees, 20 degrees, 30 degrees, 45 degrees, or is this 45? Anyway, I think this is standard rate turn. Which one? Is it the big one or the second one? I usually use the second one, but I think maybe the third one is the standard rate turn. I don't know. I'm not a pilot. I'm guessing. I think that's right, but boy, I wouldn't swear to it. Okay, let's walk through our flight plan as I was saying. We're going to walk through, and we're going to just push the down arrow, INN, Adillo, MOG-T, Nessus, and then it's going to turn, and we're going to go over towards, and then we're going to turn again, and just like, yep, there it is. And that's all there is to it. Back to the beginning by pressing flight plan. Okay? Index here, we can do FMS, we can do the route list, we can do position summary, which is one of the ones I like to use when I'm flying. You can do radar. We don't have it on right now, which makes sense because you don't want to have it on yet. But we can, I believe, next page test. We should get a nice test draw. I like to have auto tilt on, test mode off, previous page, and we'll leave that for now. Okay. So that's it. That's what we need to do to enter the flight plan. Let's go ahead and get started. Now we'll leave out on the flight plan, okay? So we're going to turn up some of these lights here. I like to have them at about 6 o'clock. Indirect, the ones above are different though, and I don't know why. Okay, Light Master is on because that turns on all the backup lights. I'm going to turn on the low anti-collision. And that will tell us, or tell somebody we're getting ready to start the engines, because I don't know that we have anything else that will tell people we're about to start the engines. Okay, and I think we're still on external power, so we're going to want to keep our props feathered. And there we go. Make sure they're in the feather position. Make sure our fuel levers are in cutoff, and they are. Turn on anti-skid. And then I'm going to turn on the inertial separator, or activate it because I want to, and I'm going to turn on the blower here and the standby gyro. Okay, And we're going to initialize this system, all data, okay. And we're going to, I don't know, make this flight plane. I guess that's fine. Comm radios there, okay. And do you want me to, maybe I should just hand fly it out and then show you the nav from there, the direct. I don't know. I think the easiest way is to let you guys watch it fly it on its own. I'm going to be hand flying a big chunk of it anyway, because when you're leaving in this plane, you're going to have to. So the other thing I want to do is set our speed, and I want my speed as I'm departing. It says max is 165, right? So I want 135 on this, just as we're departing. That's what I'm thinking is we're going to have 135 during our climb. And let's turn the indirect lighting down a bit. Man, that seems bright. There we go. That's a little better for my liking. Okay, oxygen on. I think we've got everything else. Let's see. Windshield heating doesn't need to be on yet. Does it? We'll go ahead and turn on windshield heating. No, let's not, because we are on the... Well, we're on external power. I guess it doesn't matter that much. All right, we're going to go ahead and get the engine started. Let's start with engine number 1, or the right engine. And we're going to watch over here. And when this stops motoring, when the numbers stop climbing for N1, we'll move the fuel cutoff, or we'll move the fuel lever up. About 17 is where it goes. So I'm going to move it out of cutoff. And we did that, and the lever is now a little bit forward, you can see here. Now, because we're on, and as soon as this hits 50, I'm going to kill the starter, because that starter is drawing a crap ton of power. And I mean a lot of power, so it'll kill your batteries if you leave it on. So we've hit 65. We'll go ahead and move the fuel control up to full, and I'm going to turn on the generator. And we see it clicking away there. Now, let's start number 2. Or number 1, I guess the left engine. Whatever. That one. That's the one. I'm skipping a lot of startup stuff for you guys, by the way. Just so you know, there's a lot of tests and whatnot to run, but I'm not doing those right now. I'm just trying to get this through the takeoff for you. So hopefully this is helpful. And I'm sorry my computer sucks, but I'm going to take that left lever out, and it's coming into, and we hear the fuel introduce and the props spin up. Turn on the taxi light, and there we're past 50. I'm going to turn off the ignition so we get all that power. We're past 65. The lever goes forward. Make sure we're at, that's about right, I guess. That'll be okay. And let's turn on that generator. We go and put it up to reset and then back, okay? So we're going to do left generator, right generator, see if there's any difference. There's not really. So we're going to open the ties, close the ties. Then I'm going to turn off the external power because we don't need it anymore. Kill it. Hopefully I haven't done anything stupid. Auto throttle goes to arm. Now we need our windshield heat on. And hit our master caution. Let's see. Now we turn our bleeds on. That says battery tie open. Okay. I thought I had turned off the... Oh, that's why. Because I turned off the wrong switch because I'm an idiot. Both. Auto. Turn the temperature in the cockpit way down as far as it'll go. Turn the blowers up full, which I had already done. Okay, these are all correct because I've got the inertial separators on. So the inertial separators, if you don't know, are, if you look at your engines, there's a little door here and I'm on the ground, so there's a 2% chance that I'll get FOD, and with this door shut, it'll go out the this little hatch here instead of getting sucked up into the engine. And when it gets sucked up into the engine, the chip detector says, hey man, you got metal in your oil. That's bad. Okay, so I always start and take off with the with that open, and set our barometer here, or our altimeter, sorry. And that's it for now. We're gonna go ahead and taxi out, and we're gonna work on this so that you guys can see what we're doing. For the takeoff, we're gonna go ahead and take the props out of feather, and I'm gonna bring them back just a touch because on takeoff they can get out of hand pretty quick. So the other thing I'm going to tell you is, and I think this is on by default, but check for yourself, this unrestricted beta range, if you're not listening or you don't have a stop set up for the beta range, turn that off, because otherwise while you're in flight the plane will go into beta, which is really not that helpful. And you're going to damage your plane. So I would say at this point, turn that off. And if you've got a really good throttle, I guess, or you can hear the, here, I'll let you hear, when it comes out of beta, you can hear a click. There it is. And now we're back in beta. But if you're flying and you put it in beta, that's not good. And I don't want you to die, so please don't put it in beta while you're flying. As it is here, what I have it set up to do is when I'm on the ground, beta is available. And I love the beta settings when I'm on the ground because it saves brakes. That's the whole point of this thing. A brake job on a Starship or a King Air 350, a King Air 200, King Air 90, the brake jobs on these things are like, I want to say you're looking at $250,000 to replace your brakes. That may be an underestimate. I don't think it's an overestimate at all. But just that's why that's in there, so that your plane can essentially come to a stop with minimal use of the brakes, because you do not want to be hitting the brakes all the time. Okay, so turn off the low anti-collision, turn on high. I'm going to turn on the nose light, and you'll see that we're going to go ahead and enter the runway. There's no traffic on right now. I'm not online, and I don't have Beyond ATC pulling traffic for me.
Why now?
But you can see as we enter the runway here, we have the landing lights coming out of the wings, and it's beautiful, etc., etc., etc. Pull it back into beta so we can slow down a little. Alright, one thing I forgot to do here, kind of important. I'm going to set our final altitude here, which is going to be 18,000 all the way to Zurich. Whoops, a daisy, went too far. Watching where I was taxiing. That's why you do this stuff when you're over there and not here. Whoops, a daisy, over again. Again, I'm not a pilot, I'm just dead game time trying to help you here, guys. So hopefully this will help a few people out. If it doesn't, I'm sorry. This is just, and I'm sure somebody that's a real pilot's going to chime in and say that I was very incorrect, but oh, that's fine. I get it. All right, so we are lined up with the runway, more or less. Let's get on the center line here. Now, step on the brakes. See, our heading bug is right on the runway line, so we're gonna use the heading bug if we have to. And since it's foggy and dark, you couldn't ask for a worse way to get out of Innsbruck, right? This is pretty bad for most people, but we know how that departure looks, and so we're not gonna have any trouble with it. I hope. We hope, right? It's our goal. Just a lot of hope. And we'll watch our speed climb. 80 knots. V1. Rotate. Gear up. And we're on our outbound trip, right? We just follow that pink arrow here in the middle. You see the flight director? We can hand fly just by following that thing if we chose. So what we're going to do is I'm going to hit nav, and we've got it set for IAS profile to climb, and we'll turn on the autopilot here. Click, click, and it should now fly us along our flight path. And I can prove it to you by doing this. All right, or we can do this. Display. Nah, that's not the good one. Well, let's just leave that one on radar for now. We're going to do radar control and weather and turbulence. And what's the message coming in? Oh, update the VLF again. Okay, well, we did. Message cleared. Okay. Communications. Zoom in on the range. Okay, there we go, guys. Now that shouldn't be happening. We should be on the... that's what I meant to hit. Darn it. That was my fault. And now that won't turn off, so that's all right. Okay, now I'm leaving the anti-ice on for a reason on the engine or the bypass, because I want to get through the clouds. There's an issue with anytime there's moisture in the air. I mean, our outside temperatures were probably safe, because if you look, our outside air temperature is 16. We're good. We could probably shut it. But you want to watch for that because we're going through clouds, right? So there's moisture. That could get sucked up too. And if you look here, I'll bet it's going to tell us... whoops, daisy. Hope I didn't just pause it. I did. Dang it. Ah, stupid pop-up menu. Oh, it's still saying that there's FOD. Okay, now there's no FOD. Okay. No FOD at all. We're okay, even though we're going through clouds. All right. So that hard turn's coming up. And, but we're going to be at such an altitude by then because we're keeping it at 130 that we should be fine. Uh-oh, we're at 100% torque. That's not good. So we're going to ease back on the RPM. Sorry about that. I was paying attention to the wrong things. And we're going to pull our throttle back to 90. It's hard to get it right there. So if we're 90, 91, 92, 89, somewhere in there, I'm okay with it. Okay, it's on auto. So we're already at 11,300. We need to be at 13,000 and max of 165. I'd say we're well within the requirements. But you can follow, you can hand fly this. You don't need the autopilot to get out of Innsbruck. It's a pretty easy one. You just have to know to follow your flight director. And what I mean is that little pink thing up there. If you follow that and you've got it set to follow the FMS, and the FMS is going to the next waypoint when it's supposed to and whatnot, that's all you got to do. You're fine. You can fly through there, okay? You can hand fly it. Now, it's going to come up here and it's going to do a turn, but I don't know how hard it's going to turn. I don't have it on half bank. So it's going to give us a full rate turn. Let's go look at the landing lights in the clouds here. Okay. And it's going 25, I think, roughly 25 degrees, which I think I told you is the minimum bank that it wants is 25 degrees. So we're well within, we're below 165 knots, which is a big part of a turn. Your speed can affect the radius of your turn significantly. So staying below the 165 knots, the reason that's there is not because they're being difficult. It's just it'll make sure that your return radius is small enough to fit within the chart. So see, it flew the departure exactly the way it should. Initial climb. Okay. Climb on runway track, maximum rate of climb until intercepting OEJ course out inbound to RUM. Continue 065 OEJ course to OEJ, right turn to Innsbruck. And that's what we've done. Sorry. And we're already up to 17,000. That was our buzz to let us know. So we're well above the 13,000 that we needed by Adillo, so we're good. So we've made it out of Innsbruck safely in the fog at night without having to have an Airbus or Boeing computer do it for us. So you can do this easily. It's not that big a deal. We're reset to 2992 or standard pressure. You can easily do this. If I can do this, anybody can do this. And like I said, I know somebody's going to say, oh, yeah, you shouldn't have done that. But I get it. I know. I'm not a pilot. I'm not trying to say I am a pilot. I'm just trying to help some people enjoy the sim. So that's it for now, guys. I just wanted to make sure you guys knew how to enter a flight plan and knew that you know, you can, even without the computer having a SID in it, you can still fly the SID. You know, that's a fairly complex SID coming out of Innsbruck, and the computer did it. And if you look on the charts with the traveling arrow, we did it well. And it's going to hit the Innsbruck VOR in a minute, and it's going to turn right. And we're at 18,000 feet, exactly where we're supposed to be. And our engines, I screwed them up a little bit there. I'm sure that they're going to be damaged now. Let's see. I'm very anxious about my engines all the time, but it looks like, yeah, I lost some on the left engine, although it was the right engine, I think, that caused the problem. But it's set to auto leg. And what I mean by auto leg is, let's do this. If I go to system control, you can let it do manual leg, select your course, or auto leg. I do auto leg. There's no reason that I can think of not to do auto leg. It's the exact system that you're used to, so. And there we are, turning right on course. So I would tell you a couple things. Check to see if you're using a third-party livery in 2024. It's probably a 2020 livery, which is probably why you're having the issue with the nav button, if that's your problem. Also, I am at cruise now, so I can turn off this and turn on my prop sync. So we don't need the... We're doing 309 knots and just a clipping along. Let's go ahead and turn off our landing lights. Don't need them anymore. And bye-bye, Innsbruck. Thanks for all the fun. That's it, guys. Have a great evening. Have a wonderful 4th of July. And get out there and fly your Starship.